Hi, Jenna.
Well, hi, Shelby.
How are you?
Oh, pretty good. We're recording in an extra special location today.
For our Christmas theme.
Yeah, reading the Christmas special,
The Christmas
Court of Frost and Starlight. And luckily this is going to be coming out right around Solstice or Christmas if you celebrate. So we're being extra festive and recording this in front of my Christmas tree.
It's so pretty.
It's very, very festive.
I love it. It's beautiful. And you match.
And I match, yeah.
And I wear black.
I have my ugly Christmas sweater that's like moderately ugly
it's not
on.
ugly. I think it's really cute.
Well, you know what I mean. It's the stereotypical Christmas sweater on to go with it. Yes.
Perfectly festive.
Perfectly festive. I love that. Yes. Goes along with the book.
We haven't said it yet, but we are doing a Court of Frost and Starlight. It was just the Christmas special.
Yeah. Yep. So
I love it. So cute.
Yeah, it was just as short as I remembered, which was good.
Was so nice because we had so many very, very long books recently.
Yeah. And if you haven't read it in a while, Frost and Starlight is the novella that's in between the first trilogy basically of ACOTAR that follow Feyre and Rhysand's story and kind of bridge into the next book, Silver Flames, which is Nesta's story.
I know.
So
how well did you think that it bridged?
Actually really well.
I did too.
I actually do think it's good for just like getting you in the right mindset of being in other characters' minds, because this is the first time we see anybody else's point of view besides like one or two chapters from Rhys. So that's always fun.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It was kind of nice to do that. It was a good way to like warm up for Silver Flames, I think.
I know. I was a little bit shocked. What did you rate it?
I still only rated it 3 stars. That's what I gave it. That's what I gave it the first time too. It just is, I mean, it's sweet, I guess, but it's for me boring. There's not
much
that
really
actually
happens.
Yeah, like there's not anything that we overcome. It's just like info.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much.
Like a basically could have been the first 200 pages of the next book kind of thing, but it's just by itself. Yeah. Which is totally fine.
Sometimes it's nice for them to just like be a little bit split up like that.
Yeah, for sure. But that means in and of itself,
you're right.
It's exciting. I still read it. But
I read it so fast.
Yeah. What did you rate it?
I gave it a 4, and it wasn't on my Goodreads from before, so I don't know what I rated it before.
Yeah.
But I didn't give it a 5. Like I've given every other one for the series.
Yeah.
And so I gave it a 4. It was like, oh, this is sweet. This is nice, but definitely not my favorite.
Yep.
But a good bridge.
It is a good bridge, though.
This one, I don't think we'll have a lot of spoilers. Did you have a lot of spoilers?
I don't know. Yeah, kind of. I mean, I feel like the only things I'll talk about, as with all of our other episodes, we'll go ahead and give the warning that definitely spoilers for the ACOTAR series, because I think we'll probably have some spoilers for Silver Flames. And potentially some spoilers for the other Sarah J. Maas books, so Crescent City and Throne of Glass, if you haven't read them.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep it to that and try to not get into any other books. We got scolded for that by somebody.
We did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I apologize if we accidentally talked about another book that you haven't read yet. We'll try to keep those spoilers to a minimum.
But I think it's really funny because somebody else had responded on one of our TikToks, and somebody was like, wow, this comment section is so filled with spoilers. And then somebody else had replied, and they were like, yeah, these books have been around for like kind of a long time at this point. Like if you haven't finished the season, maybe don't go looking through the comments. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, harsh, but also kind of, yeah. Like I know a ton of people that have read all these books and read like everything. And now that Crescent City 3 is going to come out, everybody is so hyped to talk about it. So I've tried to be really good about like putting like ACOTAR spoilers or Throne of Glass spoilers or theories.
No, that's a good way to put it too, because it's different than like Iron Flame, for example, just came out, and so I think everybody kind of understands that you need to pick big spoiler warnings over that, because it came out so recently that people might not have read it yet. But yeah, the ACOTAR books have been out for years, many years. So while I really hope that we don't spoil anybody with them,
we've tried not to. Yeah. We haven't spoiled like the big events that happen in the other series. So we're trying to keep it to that.
Yeah.
But
well, with that,
let's talk about some spoilers.
Let's get
As I
into
said,
it.
I don't think I have any.
I know. Well, where do you want to start us off?
The first thing that I want to say is Farrah drove me nuts in this book. Oh
She's
my
so
gosh.
like nosy and just like meddling in other people's lives.
Yes, for the whole book. And then when she like couldn't pick like a painting spot and she's like, oh, I really want to do it, but now I'm scared. Okay, I really want to do it, but now I'm scared. And it was like,
Yeah.
what? Like, this was like one of the things you were most excited about. And now she was just like kind of being like a little weird around it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some artists are, I don't know, maybe a little bit picky about like what the lighting is in the room and you know what's the mood, what's the vibe.
Yeah.
Gotta set the scene a little bit. So I guess I understand a little bit, and I would understand if it's something so personal to you. The difference of having the first time that you go back and do something you're passionate about in front of other people where they can see your work in progress versus like doing it by yourself and then maybe sharing it at the end.
That makes sense.
Because your work in progress can be really embarrassing. I feel the same way like when I started sewing or anything. If somebody would see something in progress or like see the
like,
inside
oh, no,
seams
don't
before
look
I
at
trimmed
that.
them. Yeah, it would look messy and embarrassing, and I didn't want people to see it. So I kind of
So maybe I was being a little harsh, but while I was reading it, I was just like, I don't know. I was just annoyed with Farrah.
I was annoyed with how when she was like kind of poking at Moore and being like, oh, so what's going on there?
Yeah.
Poking with Cassian and being like, well, have you seen Nesta or Elaine and Lucian or Elaine and Azra? Like just everybody she wants in everybody's business.
She really did. She came off as quite the busybody.
She did come off as quite the busybody.
I thought it was really funny.
I had made note of that too. I thought that was pretty funny.
But one thing I did notice is sometimes we talk about how selfish that Farrah can be. And I thought one really important part of the book was when she was talking about her sister's cycles and how hers was so awful. And she was like, oh, I wonder if they've gotten theirs. Like, I'll have to ask them and try to get them to let me help them through this time because she knows how awful it's going to be. And so she wants to help them with theirs.
Yeah. Well, and she even said, she's like, I don't care what Nesta says. I don't want her to have to be alone going through it.
And that I thought that was really sweet. After us talking some crap about Farrah, that was really sweet.
Yeah, that was sweet for sure. And the scene with like all the little kids painting was cute too.
Oh my gosh, that was so cute. That was so adorable.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Also the snowball or fight scene.
I love the snowball fight scene.
What was funnier, I don't know why in my mind I remembered that scene being longer or more descriptive.
Yeah.
Or like it stood out more in my mind, and then I read it again. It's like a paragraph and that's it.
I know. I thought that was so wild that it like there wasn't much to it.
And I totally forgot about the steam room part of it.
I did too. And then how Reese gets kicked out because he was...
I mean, fair if you're getting a boner while you're sitting in a steam room with everybody else.
Guys.
I don't think that'd go over very well.
I don't think so either, but I was expecting more from the snowball fight too. I was literally expecting like this whole like thing around the snowball fight, but literally what it was is they're standing behind and then they
Yep.
and then they come back and then nothing happens and then they throw it again. And it was like, wow, that was very anticlimactic.
Yeah. Although Az winning 199 out of them out of 300, is that how many it was?
I think
how many years they said they'd been doing it or something? I mean, that's a lot.
That
That's
was
a pretty high
pretty much
percentage.
Az is the winner here.
Yep.
Speaking of Az,
Speaking of Az,
there was a lot in this book surrounding Azrael.
lots of subtle things. Yep.
Yeah, where like people would make like one-off comments about him. I was like not expecting as much of it to happen, even though he didn't have a POV in this book.
Yeah, he didn't he?
Did he? I don't think he did. He?
Oh, maybe not. I thought he had just like maybe one or two. Not very much, but I mean, nobody had like a ton. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just Cassian. But yeah, I also noticed that was interesting. They called out Az doesn't move through winnowing.
Yes.
Az moves like with his shadows or in some other way.
In some other way, which I was actually going to say, I am questioning if he's moving through the shadows. But like, then are the shadows winnowing? Like,
I don't know. Well, it's clearly just like a different type of magic than winnowing. And so when they talked about winnowing before, they said it was kind of like, think like folding the world to make 2 points that you can step through. So I guess we're supposed to assume that whatever he's doing of like walking through his shadows is different than that. I kind of remember that maybe there's more of it in Silver Flames a little bit, but I don't know. So it was something that I saw that I want to watch out for.
Me too.
Just because that was an interesting note. There's just like one statement and then never again.
I know. I thought that was super wild too. And like, we haven't heard it in the series yet. And we've actually heard a lot about Az.
Yeah.
And he's like been involved a lot. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm very excited to see. And then they also talk about later on that nobody knows where his Shadow Singer gifts come from. And I thought that was crazy too. And they talk about how different his powers are than like using the siphons. It's not that raw killing power. It's something else.
Well, because he has both, right? He has the Shadow Singer stuff and the regular killing power, like what Cassian has. And I think they mentioned it in Warren Rune also that that there's like, he's not the only one that has ever existed, but they're rare and there's kind of no rhyme or reason to why certain people have it. And so they kind of have, it reminds me of like Batman born out of the darkness, you know?
I was born at the top.
So I think that's always what I have in my mind, that somehow the shadows were drawn to him because of being locked up as a kid. But we don't know for sure that's where that came from.
I know. I hope in either Elaine's book or in Azrael's book or however that goes, I really hope we learn more about his powers and where they come from, because he's just so interesting.
He is. And it also was making me laugh because I noticed it once in Warren Rune and then again in this book that Az also like picks the dust off his shoulder.
I noticed that too. Yes.
I thought it was just Reese, but then I thought that was funny that he's described as doing that too. Just like, okay.
I know, picked an invisible speck of dust off of his jacket. I noticed that too. And it made me wonder, like, does he also feel dirty?
Oh my God, I don't know. Well, yeah, he feels like he doesn't belong, right? We know that for sure. But yeah, it's a good question.
That's wild. There is so much between Azrael and Elaine in this book too.
Yeah. Yeah, although it's funny, so now reading it again, I don't know. Some of it is, maybe they have potential sparks. But some of it could also be that there's less pressure with Azrael. Like everyone expects her to give Lucian some time and get to know him. And there's like already this outside pressure from everyone else of, oh, well, he's said that he's your mate. And so you need to give him a chance. Versus with Az, it's like one of the friends. He's like low pressure. You can just talk to him, whatever. And so while she did maybe address him more directly than she addresses some of the other people, I still felt like it actually could have maybe just fallen into that, like, he is a comfortable family member.
Yeah. There were a few comments that were made where, like, they would be having a conversation and she would look at Azrael and then blush.
Yeah.
Or how she gave him a Christmas present.
Oh, that was so sweet. From everybody giving him headaches.
That was so cute. And how he looked up at the sky and just laughed.
Yeah,
like,
that was so
God.
Cute. And so funny. It reminds you that Elaine is always watching.
Yes, she is.
Which is part of why I have this, like, I would love to see an Elaine goes off the deep end and has a brief villain arc or something.
It'd be
like,
so interesting.
Because I think she's way more observant than people give her credit for. Like, I think she's quietly observing a lot of times, and that being a good example of that, right?
Definitely.
So I don't know. But I thought that was sweet too. His reaction of laughing that hard since he's normally so composed was cute.
Yes, I loved that. Oh my gosh.
So on a magic front, do we learn more in, I don't remember if it's in this book or if it's in one of the other SJM books, about when you like have like pent up magic that like hurts? Is that Aelin that happens to?
Oh,
because there was a point at towards the beginning of the book where Cassian and Reese are interacting, I think when they're at the like Illyrian Mountains, and I think it's from Reese's point of view, and he's saying how he like does a little bit to like release some of the tension of like carrying all of this magic, or like releasing some of that pent up magic so he doesn't go crazy.
Oh my gosh, maybe it is Aelin.
I kind of remember that coming up in another book, and I feel like it was Aelin.
Yes, because we don't see anybody else in this universe who talks like that.
Right.
who says that they have so much that they need to like release it. Yes, he does make that comment. What? And I don't even remember what it was that he did, but gosh, maybe, yeah, because Aelin would let out some of her power because it was so heavy.
It was just like a strain to hold it. So I just thought that was interesting to come up again, and having remembered, without spoiling big plot things, like something that happens to Aelin, and probably part of why that becomes uncomfortable. I don't know. It made me think of it for Rhys too, because I don't know if anybody else is even on the same scale of magic as him. And I think that was supposed to be yet another reminder of how he is so much aside from anyone else.
Right. And it also like kind of bridges like two very powerful beings that we know. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's actually really good to point out. I wonder, gosh, I know like the Illyrians have their siphons, but like I don't think they like let them out at any point, you know?
They don't like have to, they don't talk about having to release them in the same way.
To like feel more comfortable. Definitely a good thing to keep note.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How funny was it when they found out that Nesta was coming for the solstice?
Oh my God. Their reaction, then everybody trying to like awkwardly not pay attention, but
I know. And everybody puts on their Illyrian leathers. Did you catch that?
Oh, I thought that was for the snowball fight that they put on their Illyrian leathers.
They did for the snowball fight too, but I noticed before she was like, "Oh yeah, Nesta might be coming," and then Rhys puts on his Illyrian leathers, and she thought it was weird that he was putting them on. And then when everybody else shows up, they all were wearing their Illyrian leathers as well.
I feel like we might be mixing things because I think they do that, but it's before the snowball fight. And because I remember her talking about everybody wearing their finery and stuff like during the solstice
actual
night
solstice?
when
maybe
Nesta
I have it
shows up.
then. I don't know.
No worries. Yeah, I think because remember she's talking about she's wearing like the navy whatever velvet dress, and she's talking about how like even Az is in his all black something looking sharp.
Oh,
so
yeah, maybe I'm just mixing that up.
No, yeah, I think they.
Just kidding.
I got the sense that they changed in between the snowball fight and that. But
Scratch
yes,
that
it
then.
was
Not
funny.
important.
It was funny. What about more? That's what we haven't talked about her yet.
Yeah.
We learn a little bit more from her memory of her experience of when she got dumped in Autumn Court, basically.
Yeah, that was hard to read. I forgot that we had a couple of chapters like from her point of view, and I loved reading about like it was hard to read what happened to her, but it was nice to see from her point of view a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who do you think the other male is that she heard? Do we ever know who the other male was? So if in her POV, before she says that she recognizes Eris's voice when she's just like in pain, eyes closed, chilling with a stake in her gut. And she says she hears another voice that has like a foreign accent too.
Oh, I don't think I caught that as much because I thought it was just Eris that she was hearing.
So
I didn't catch that.
Let me find it right here. So light steady steps crunched on the leaves, 6 sets, a border guard and a patrol. Help somebody to help. A male voice, foreign and deep, swore, then went silent. And then a little bit further down, then she hears, "Don't touch her." It wasn't a warning to protect her, defend her. She knew the voice that spoke, had dreaded hearing it. She felt him approach now. So I read that as 2 different voices, but just kind of made you wonder who else was with Eris that day.
Yeah.
And since there clearly was something sketchy about how that whole situation went down, because Eris acts like there's a secret that he knows and, you know, that everybody else doesn't know everything that happened in that situation of how she got to be there. So it kind of makes me wonder if it has anything to do with the other 5 people that were there.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Well, and then that could also mean like different ties for like the night court, or not the night court, the autumn court then too. Right. And I don't know if they've actually described, because the first person that I think of when I think like a deep voice would be like day court. For some reason, I pictured him like with a deep voice, but I don't know who has ever been described.
Yeah, all we hear is foreign.
Yeah.
Right? A deep foreign voice. Which maybe it's not even somebody from this world.
I know. Or maybe it's somebody from the continent.
Yeah, I thought maybe they mention the little, there's somewhere else in there, they're like the little sliver of land on the whatever, like southeast or something, and they're saying that there hasn't been any king or queen there in a long time, and that humans wouldn't even remember who the last one was, but Fae might. There's like some comment about that. So I was like, well, maybe it's somebody from there.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. It's just we know so little, like even with that scene we still know so little about how she got to be there. So, and the other thing that I've seen theories on TikTok that of why that happened to her, and it was because of the line on 60 when she says but that was not her gift, her gift ... her gift had left her there broken and bleeding, and some people have interpreted that as that she was pregnant, and that that was why they did that, and that she like lost
kill the baby. Oh, that's actually really sad.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I buy into that or not, since I think we're supposed to assume the only time was that one time with Cassian, and supposedly it's very hard to get pregnant as Fae.
Right.
But that is a theory that I've heard floating around, that was the gift that she was losing.
Oh, that's really sad.
The baby. So
I know, because like otherwise, like it wouldn't really make sense, because I had that part tab too, where it was like her gift. Why did her gift leave her, and why is the gift showing up now? Why would your gift of truth show up in this moment? But yeah,
so
interesting. So on the point of views, since we have Feyre, Rhys, Cassian's point of view, which we know comes up in Silver Flames, do we also think that Mor might have a book?
Yeah, I think she'll have a book with Emery.
That would be so awesome.
I think that would be awesome. And yeah, maybe that's when we'll finally find out more about her truth power.
Yeah, I completely forgot that she had like an estate.
Me too. I was going to talk about that. I did not remember that at all, which makes me wonder if it actually comes. I don't wonder if it doesn't really come up very much.
Because Mor's not really in Silver Flames.
And wonder if maybe that's part of where she is over there, because when she was there and she sees that darkness that feels like it's watching back, and she's talking about how the estate is in a place where like Night Court hasn't really explored in a long time.
Which, like, where is it?
Right? So that was, and the fact that we know her horse's name, and there was so much discussion over that too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that at all. It's like 2 pages of this book.
Yes.
But then because she's kind of MIA for Silver Flames, and to be fair, Silver Flames is more from Nessa's point of view, who doesn't really care what Mor is doing. So we're not going to find out there anyways. But yeah, that totally went over my head last time. Did not remember that at all.
Where Rhys says that he wants her to go like to the Illyrians and like go there and help them.
But not just the Illyrians. He wants her to travel like all over, right? Because she's going to be going to like Winter Court, and she's going to be going to Summer Court. She's going to be going all over.
Right. She's going to be trying to like make friends between all of the courts again. But she's going to start out with the Illyrians, because they've been like completely disrupt, but she needed like a break before she went there.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, like, from all these point of views, it makes it seem, and after that, I didn't realize how much time they spent away from each other, the inner circle.
In this book, or just in general?
In general.
Yeah.
Because with this, like, people don't know that Mor is at this estate. They don't even know about the estate, which is wild to me. And then we realized that, like, Cassian doesn't have a place in the city, just one in Illyria. And I'm like, but he doesn't stay at the townhouse.
He stays at the House of Wind.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't catch
him
that
and Az
part.
do. Well, you'll catch it in the next book. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But they don't really talk about it that much in this book.
But it's like he just has a room in the House of Wind. It's not his house. And so I think that's Rhys is hinting in this book that maybe you should get your own place and not just mooch off our house and have a room in our house, basically.
Right. And so when I got that part, I was like, Cassian doesn't have a place in the city. Like, that's odd. It's like, and then he just stays at the House of Wind even though he has a house.
Yeah, but
like,
not there, right? Yeah, in Illyria. Probably because he spends so much time there because he is in charge of the army.
Right. But it made me think about how much time they spend not there.
Yeah. That's true, because during the all the war efforts and stuff, a lot of it they're all spending together, strategizing and fighting together. But yeah, I mean, they're all like emissaries and things, and having to do things in other lands, so they do split up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think it'll be interesting, like, if we do hear anything really about more in the next book, like, I feel like that's going to be one that I pay, like, special attention to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
fun.
I know. I love that. Did you notice on page 166 when Lucian notices when Rhys checks in with Feyre? And he was like, checking in with your mate?
Yeah.
And it made me think, like, are you seeing it?
Oh, like if he can see that communication too. Are we about to get a dog?
We are.
Come here.
Hi,
honey.
Dixie.
Hi.
She's just like.
She's just staring at us on the edge of the screen.
Hi.
Yes, I actually did notice that too, which was interesting. But it also made me think of we just read One Dark Window, and there's a certain character in that book that is like having conversations other people can't hear.
Exactly.
And it just made me think of maybe she had like a blank face, or like there was a distinct, you know what I mean, gap in her speaking verbally. So I was like, well, maybe that was what made it more obvious, is more just being like, okay, well, you're just sitting quietly in your own head for a minute, so you must be talking to him.
I know. Yeah, it definitely just gave me like a is something else happening here?
Oh, always,
because that's what I pictured too, like her just like blank staring at, just not saying anything, but
always with the eye, for sure.
Always with the eye.
So also with Lucian though, on the page before that.
Oh, hello!
Oh, wow!
Oh, the kisses!
Oh yeah, puppy love.
Oh yeah, good.
So I'm gonna flip to it so I can read right from it, but it's on 165. Struggles. And Lucian, talking about Elaine, says, I can't stand to be in the same room as her for more than 2 minutes. I can't stand to be in this court and have your mate pay for the very clothes on my back. It's a big statement of I can't stand to be in the same room as her. Yeah. I still think it's not because he doesn't like her. I think it's because he can't stand like the pressure or her not liking him, and it's like making him not like it. Right. But we've seen theories and we've seen comments on some of our posts that people think that's a, I don't know, moment of saying that he's not right for Elaine. Yeah. I don't know that I think that, but it was a very strong statement. And
some big feelings in that statement.
Feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was wild too, because I think there was another part where he either says he's not staying there or he's not coming somewhere, and Elaine had like visibly relaxed.
Yep, I caught that too.
Yeah, and Feyre says something along the lines of like, oh, hopefully Lucian didn't see that she like visibly relaxed. Yep. And could you imagine how hard that is on Lucian?
That'd be so sad.
Just poor
to
Lucian.
Feel so unwanted after already being kicked out of 2 courts, right? Starting being kicked out of autumn, and now he's been kicked out of spring. Which, speaking of spring court, it was kind of sad.
Oh, that was actually really sad. And like, okay, Rhys, like I understand that like he's pushing him because he feels like that's what he needs. And to me it just seemed a little cruel.
Yeah, it just felt a little over the top, like rubbing salt in the wound a little bit.
It really did. Like Feyre had already she's already trying to deal with it on her own, and if she wants to talk to Tamlin and stuff about that, like then she already said she didn't want to go. She didn't want to talk to him. She has no need to. But then he goes and he's just kind of like mean anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I get the concern over border security, you know, but
some of the comments.
He was not very nice in the conversations.
No, he wasn't. And I get it, but it's like, I don't know. He's been so good about Pharaoh's healing, and I feel like up until now.
Yeah. Well, because we don't really know what's going on in his head until now. Right.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So many POVs in this one. I kind of liked it.
I know.
It was kind of nice.
Oh, speaking of Tamlin, actually.
Oh, Tamlin.
So, what did you think of Rhys's solstice present to Feyre? With the satchel for her painting supplies and the sketchbook and stuff. Did you notice how similar that was to the present that Tamlin got Feyre? And it just made me think of like right present, wrong time. You know? Like she was so excited about it from him.
Right.
But she was really like, oh, how could you even imagine I'd want that from Tamlin? And that made me feel a little bad because, well, Tamlin was oblivious and should have noticed that was not something that she was into at that moment. it just was sad to see that
was.
it was something that she clearly liked. Like, he
Yeah.
wasn't totally off base.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. And she was just in like a totally weird headspace and everything.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even put that connection together
Yeah.
until you said it. Oh,
So that
my
was kind of
gosh.
sad. And mostly it was just funny because it just felt like another moment for Reese to be like, ha, I win. You know?
I know.
Give you the same present, be like, more from me.
Literally, well, in fact, it was actually like, I don't want to say worst present, but like Tamlin went all out when he was like, I got you like a whole traveling paint set and it's in this whole case and there's like all these, she describes all these colors and all these brushes and everything. And Reese gets her a satchel with some paintbrushes or something. Like it wasn't like an extravagant gift. It was like small.
Which, to be fair, I think she probably only wanted small, right?
Right.
It clearly makes her a little bit uncomfortable, even if she likes it to get presents, but just kind of funny.
I know,
Kind of a
it
funny
was
difference.
interesting hearing her talk about how she didn't like want presents or anything because she's like seeing how everybody is rebuilding and it's really hard for her to like celebrate.
To spend frivolously.
Yeah. Yeah, and Reese just has like all of the money in the world.
Yeah. Sugar Daddy Reese.
Sugar daddy.
I think everybody would take Sugar Daddy Reese. Build
I think
any
so,
house
too.
you want. Yes, sir. Don't
Yeah.
gotta tell me twice.
I know. So one thing that I actually really appreciated from this book, because if you have, a lot of people skip the novella, and I feel like this is really good because you start to see Reese less in that like, oh, Reese, like, I love him, he can do no wrong. And like with Tamlin, and like some of the comments and stuff that Reese makes to even other people, you start to realize that he's not all like sweet and nice all the time. Like he does to have this like darker petty side to him that we're really gonna see. And so I feel like it was a really good bridge from Akawar when everything is just like so happy and healthy until like now you're seeing like a little bit of it and now you really get to see it from Nesta's point of view. So
Yeah, definitely. So one other thing I had made note of just that I want to talk about, this is the first time that we really hear about, is it Ramiel?
oh yeah, the mountain.
Yeah. And having read this so quickly after Akawar, when we were just talking about the old gods, it was interesting that Cassian makes a comment about how it feels alive and awake and watchful.
Oh yeah.
And if you remember, it was just in the last book, I think, that there was a comment about the old gods and how they're in everything. They're in the mountains and the streams, and they are those things.
Because we talked about it when Feyre was like running and the trees were moving for her.
Yeah. So it was kind of another one of those moments where I was like, I wonder if, which makes sense because they're like the blood rite is like such a huge tradition, and he's like, I don't even know what came first, the insignia or the blood rite, and there's a lot of discussion over that. So that was kind of interesting to me, just to be like, I wonder if there's going to be even more significance behind that mountain.
Interesting.
Than we know.
Yeah, and I feel like we're reading it so much differently that this time that I feel like Silver Flames is going to feel really different.
It is going to feel really different.
I'm so excited for it already. That's awesome.
Yeah. What else I got?
That's pretty much everything that I had on here, I think.
Feyre's dresses. The fact that Reese's mom made them all.
That was so how would you feel about that?
I mean, that's so sweet, but also, like, how did she know what size she was going to be?
Okay, I was wondering the same thing.
Like, are they just magic dresses and so they auto-size to whatever size you are? Like,
maybe.
I mean, that's pretty cool, but that seems pretty wild that all these dresses are always talked about fitting to her so perfectly.
Yes.
I'm like, how the fuck did you know that?
Exactly. Or what about, like, kind of what we were just saying with Reese? Like, what did we think about his comment? Oh, you didn't guess that?
Yeah, I don't know how she would have figured that out.
No, you like literally never gave any hints or anything. How was she supposed to know that?
Yeah,
I felt like that comment would have made me feel really stupid.
Yeah, that would have made me stupid. Because did she even know that she was? I guess she maybe knew that she was a seamstress, but like that his mom was a seamstress. But still, I was like, how would she have guessed that?
Exactly.
I would not have guessed that at all. But
I
yeah,
literally scoffed when I read that line. I was like, okay,
Yes.
let's not make our significant other feel dumb.
yeah. Yeah, so I definitely got that, but I did think it was sweet.
Yes,
it was like a way for Farrah to feel connected to the women in Reese's life, even though they're not around anymore.
And she always talks about how beautiful the dresses are.
Yeah, she loves them.
She also says like how fitting they are for her.
Yeah,
and so part of me does wonder, like, did she know? Did Reese's mom know? Like, have an inkling?
Like maybe she was a seer too, or something, or had some bits of that, some visions of who it was going to be and that she would need it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, we know so little about his mom and his sister. I wish we knew more.
I wish so too. But it's sad because we're not going to get books about Reese and Feyre again.
Right.
And so, like, are we going to have to learn about them, like, third person?
Or maybe just not. I mean, it's also possible they're always going to be side character
hidden.
or, like, kind of on the side, and we don't need to know more about them. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So many theories and questions.
I know. I'm trying to think about it. I think that was I think the only other thing is kind of ending it on a sad note.
Oh.
But Nesta taking the money after Solstice.
Oh, yeah.
And her point of view there. Do you want to talk about that?
That was a little rough. And Cassian totally calls her out for it, too.
He does. And his point of view there of chasing after and being like, I don't even know what I'm going to say, but I need to say something. Like, you can see her wasting away. And people, I think before, the people who don't like Silver Flames hate on Nesta, I think, for situations like that. And say that she's just taking advantage of Farrah and things too. But again, I think people forget how Farrah was when the first time when she was dealing with this stuff. And even Cassian makes a comment about how he was like, it took me weeks, months, maybe in years to get over my first battle or something like that. And Nesta did fight. She like lured Hybern out. She was, stabs him too, whatever. She was in it.
She had also she had been through everything with the inner circle. She had gone to all the meetings. She had been very heavily involved. And so, and then she fought really hard. And so she had more skin in the game than Elaine did. And so obviously she's having a harder time with it.
Yeah. So that was just really sad though, to imagine having to pay a family member to come to the event to make another family member happy. That was really sad, especially because Solstice is Farrah's birthday. To add on to that was really, really sad.
That was rough. Because I'm not a Nesta hater. No. Reading this book, though, I thought Nesta was a lot more nasty when I read this the first time. I completely forgot that when Feyre goes and finds her at that, podunk bar, and I thought Nesta was horrible to her the first time. Nesta's not.
She's not.
She's like, you know what? I don't really want to come. Yeah, she's like, I'm just not interested. I'm just doing my own thing. Which she's spending a ton of money and everything, but she's not outright horrible. And it shocked me a little bit because I just remembered thinking of her so poorly from this book especially. And then when she's like, oh, my rent's due in 3 days, whatever, I was like, okay, yeah, that's shitty. And then afterwards when she took the money,
that was bad.
She did tell her that's exactly what she wanted, though. And Feyre did give it to her. I thought it was really sad. Could you imagine sitting through Christmas and the only person that gives you a gift is Elaine, is your sister?
Yeah, that was sad too.
Yeah, and so everybody's sitting there, which even Feyre was like, I didn't get anything from you. You knew she was coming.
Do we know what Cassian got her?
We find out in Silver Flames.
Do we? Okay.
I think, I remember what it is.
Okay, well,
I'll say it off. I'll say it off.
I'll let it be a surprise for me, I guess, because I don't remember.
But, yeah, it's really sweet and special. River. Yeah. And that scene broke my heart. Especially because we were getting it from Cassian's point of view and him just being not knowing how he's feeling, but knowing he feels very strongly about it. That was really funny to me. But just knowing how heartbroken he was, that he's trying to help and trying to do things for her when clearly nobody else is. No wonder she's retreating because nobody's trying to help her.
Yeah.
Feyre had even said she hasn't gone to see her. Elaine hasn't gone to see her. Reese hasn't gone to see her.
Amryn is the only one that's kind of talked to her.
Exactly. And not even like a lot.
Yep.
Like, obviously, if you feel like your whole family is like not wanting to like, wanting you to be a part of it.
To be fair, she didn't want them there either.
No, she didn't, but they didn't try.
Yeah.
Nobody tried. So like, how would she know unless they were actually trying? Like, she didn't go either, but like, if I felt unwanted, I wouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, poor Nesta. I'll be excited to see her story again as we read.
Me too. I'm very excited to read Summer Flames again. This one's my favorite of the whole series.
Yeah, I know. So that's going to be coming up soon here too, before the end of the year.
Can you believe we've done all of this before the end of the year?
Yeah.
I
We're really
love
getting
it.
through them quick.
Heck yeah, we are. I know.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, go ahead and give us a follow, guys, and give us a 5-star review. We love having all of our new book friends in on this SJM conversation. Just having so much fun.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.